25 video game ideas that you can just have. We're not going to use them. We got our own better ideas that we're keeping to ourselves. No, I'm kidding. We got some scope here. We got VR game ideas, we got mobile game ideas, we got platformer ideas, Switch game ideas.
Go ahead and make them. Do it. Just put us in like the credits or something. Deal?
Yes, that would be great. Put us in the credits. If we're ever down on our luck and need a job, hire us, maybe. Comment below what your favorite one is too.
Yes.
And as for the rules, we're not just like throwing out 25 ideas. These are 25 ideas that we've really, like, we're going to flesh out some of the mechanics for. Like, it's actually like, this is the game, the gamification mechanic that makes it a game.
So, my first idea is take an RPG / roguelike and combine it with, let's say, football simulator or whatever, where you like run a sports team. However, you take the generational qualities of a roguelike, like, was it Rogue Legacy? And so, like, each generation, you get to add attributes to the family. Well, how about each generation of players, you get to add attributes to them. Like, each player has, like, speed, strength, agility, like the regular RPG stats, except it all applies to sports. So eventually, over time, you can make, like, the fastest team in the league. Take the stakes even further. You take the Nemesis system from, what is it? Not Shadows of Mordor. It's the sequel to it, where you have I mean, both of them have that. If you've played Shadows of Mordor, Adam, you would know.
Yeah, I've seen the Mark Brown video on it.
Oh,
which
yes,
is
it's
almost better.
It's genius.
They have that family memory.
And you disgraced my family.
Yeah, so if you don't, and like if you don't win, maybe you can't apply the traits, or like you have to win 3 games to apply the traits, or
if you lose, you have to kill
options.
off 3 of your teammates.
like a Roman execution style at the end. You have to like murder teammates.
Yeah, that's right. You pick the 3 weakest.
And I like this idea because you can do it with lacrosse, polo, soccer, football. Like, just
any
pick a sport.
Game, really.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's a
wrestling. It doesn't even have to be team based. Like, oh, wrestling would be really good for that. Like, well, like imagine a wrestling match when they come back and they're like,
my father and your father had beef, but today we're gonna have lamb chops.
A wrestling game with a Nemesis system. There's a free one for you. I'm gonna jump in with the mobile game idea. So for the mobile game, we're gonna have my phone as like a little demonstration. Super Smash Brothers style mechanics where damage equals lighter weight, so you fly back. Except it's a one-on-one sumo style match with a small ring. You play a real person, and it's first person. If you hold your phone up, it's as if you're looking straight dead on at them, like a perfect horizontal axis. And the way the mechanics work, it's a slapping game. So you don't like punch them, you slap when you hit each other. And you slap the phone like this: right slap, left slap, right slap, left slap. You can poke it to block, and you can break a block by pinching, and pinching is a grab. So if you pinch, you grab them, and you can actually pinch them and throw them, or pinch them and throw them down or something, and then when they pop back up, you can slap them, and then you can block slaps, and there's some more, you can have more emerging mechanics that go, but it's really most off phone gestures, and I want that good feeling at the end. If you make this game, you have to make that good feeling at the end. Imagine this, Steven.
Like
when you're like, pat. Yeah, you like hit them and they go poof, and they fly off the thing, and you watch them disappear underneath the arena, and a big explosion comes up from where they came down.
All right,
like
idea. Building on that, you have a combo / like burst limit meter that builds up as you slap. Like if you get a good right left right slap, it adds to your meter or whatever. And if you meter's full, you can do like a burst slap where you like wipe your hand across the whole screen, and it just like sends them flying. Or does like, you know, the maximum.
Hopefully you won't accidentally pull down your like brightness change. But like, because usually it's just kick, punch, block, and but instead of that you got slap, pinch, poke, which is all things you can do with a mobile device. So I'm pretty excited about that one. I was like, that's the best mobile game I've ever thought of.
And the scope's the right size too, for where it's just like a ring and 2 people. You know, it's not a whole bunch of like assets that would go into making a mobile game.
I don't know. If our game fails, let's just like peel back to this one. Take the VR hands, and those are the slap hands.
So, your typical VR spooky game, right? You know, where things jump out at you. Super easy to get scared in VR. Let's say you're like walking down a path. It's like almost procedurally generated, where you're like the path's pretty much infinite. But as you go down it, different and scarier monsters come up. But if you can react fast enough to properly deal with the monster, you don't have to fight the monster. But if you get like genuinely surprised, like let's say something like reaches out of the ground and grabs your leg, and you don't like swat it away or whatever fast enough, you then get into a fight, like almost like a Final Fantasy style fight with this monster, where you gotta, you know, beat the tar out of it. But if you die, you have to start back.
That could work in VR too, a Final Fantasy style fight. Because that's the problem with like Skyrim VR, is you have like a sword and you're just like, ha!
Oh, yeah, you're like, wow.
Yeah.
It could be turn based. It probably would be turn based.
Or even
actually.
just like turn-esque.
Where it's like, okay, your turn to attack, so you have to go up and you have a sword or whatever. And of course it has like the usual drop loot systems where you get better armor, or maybe like time slows down when fighting this kind of monster.
To me, the base mechanic in that game is how brave are you to keep walking? Because like I can imagine PewDiePie playing this game and he's like walking, and then it's like monster number 4 and he like craps his pants. He's like, creepier. It's gonna take a lot of imagination though.
Yeah, it'll take a lot of brain work. But
Undertale, it makes me think of Undertale too.
Yeah, in the way that you can like deal with fights in other ways or something.
Yeah. Maybe you could befriend some of the monsters. That's a really good idea. Once you get a test room and you start shaking out the bugs, you can really start finding that sweet spot. I can imagine that once you get that good test room going, you're really going to have a great understanding of what the game's going to look like moving down the road. Here's a standard idea. This could be VR, not VR, whatever. It's a prison break game. Mm-hmm. It's a sneaky game. It's a sneaky, stealthy kind of game.
Yeah.
Your only thing you have is your ability to urinate. And so, follow me. I promise. Okay. I promise. So it's rated G or PG. Like you know, you just like in the way in My Summer in Finland, when he pees, there's no like gore, not gore. But, you know.
Whoa, Adam.
There's no like.
I don't know about that.
Yeah, there's no you remember. And so it's just pee. The game's not weird in that way. But the way the game works, you're sneaking through the prison, and you can make a guard slip by like placing pee in the right spot. And you can, if you drink poison, you can make your pee poison, and you can poison people's food. And then if you drink acid, you can actually make your pee acid, and you can like burn through certain items. And you can actually have like a good chemistry system with this. And then so you sneak around, you get different chemicals, and you can actually make different combinations of pee as you sneak out, and it gets harder and harder to solve the puzzle of how to get past the guards.
You have to urinate.
Yeah, but to me that makes sense. The prison break idea is like the only thing you have is your ability to pee.
Okay, you could pick up items, a like water balloon. You could fill the water balloon to make a grenade.
Yeah, so yes, you could. It's obviously going to be kind of more of a funny joke game.
Yes, very cartoonish.
Yes, but yeah, I think there's a lot of progression that could happen. Okay, I promise they're not all that weird. That's my weirdest one. We're gonna have a few VR games because that's where our head's at. Yeah, my headset's not here right now, but Guns of Icarus redone for VR and with some major mechanic changes. So I'm not just saying Guns of Icarus in VR, like big mechanic changes to it. So if you don't know, Guns of Icarus is a game, it's a steampunk game where you fly these blimps and you're part of a team and somebody's a captain and three people are working the guns, but 2 of those people are
like one's a
mechanics.
Pilot, one's a mechanic.
2's mechanics. 1's a gunner.
Okay.
Yeah, and you got a 4-person team. It doesn't have to be steampunk, it can be 20s noir flying around shooting people down. It's just like ships flying around shooting people down. But in VR it'd be really cool because, one, you could actually be aiming the guns. You could grab the gun, move it around, and shoot and aim with the guns. So I like that a ton better. That already makes it a different game. 2, I hate the way the mechanic in the game works. In the original game, you just smack it. You just have different tools, and you just smack it until it's fixed. I think that's how the noob mechanic should work. So when your gun blows up. I think it should fall apart. And a noob should be able to like grab a gear and just slowly turn the gear, and they watch it come back together slowly. But experienced people, I think, should have different tools that they can actually start putting it together themselves. And if they get stuck, they can use the noob thing and then put it together themselves. But the mechanics can actually rebuild the guns. And so because it's VR, you actually have a lot more control. It won't be like buggy where you're clicking and dragging and stuff while things, bullets are whizzing past your head and you're like grabbing gears and you're spinning them together and you're putting them back up. And not like something super hard. Like you should be a full rebuild could happen.
It's like a mini game approach to the repair system.
Yes,
and depending
exactly.
on what's broken, it could be a different repair.
So you could walk in and you could have your like average repair time over your mechanics thing, so people would know how good you are. And if you're a noob, that's okay. You're still going to be able to fix it. You just do the little noob thing and you watch it. And you learn how to play because the game just teaches you as it puts it together for you. And then so we talked about the gunner differences. We talked about the build game with differences. I think the pilot should have more mini game aspects too. Yes. Yep. Oh man, my cat's living outside right now. She just like in the summer, she's like pieces out and just lives outside. She doesn't come in. She comes in for like 20 minutes, takes naps, and then like begs to leave.
That's
I
funny.
don't know why.
Combat is swashbuckling pirate combat, where you can go up to another ship, dock to them, like tie ropes to them, right? So the person on the ship that's being boarded could cut the ropes with like their sword or whatever, maybe shoot it with a gun.
Yeah, and that works super well with VR.
And
just
then
fits.
you like board
everybody could have a cutlass on their
chivalry style combat on the ships. But also the problem with this that is VR is that you're probably really sick thinking about going around like if you're on like one of those fast ships and you're pulling a 180 and you're like flying sideways shooting people with big guns and stuff, you're probably gonna throw up.
If you're the Devagumba and you're watching, I'm impressed. That game captured my imagination. Amazing.
Yeah, it's a good game.
I think you can do more with it, but
I think the game's dead now, isn't it?
It's time for a VR revival. Yeah. There's got to be ways to help with the motion sickness too. Maybe it'll be less flashy as far as like how fast and slow you can move around, but I think it would more than make up for it with when you're freaking like cutting the pirate ropes off your ship and like as you're running around. Everything's on fire, and you actually have to put out the fire with a fire extinguisher. The game just naturally becomes amazing.
For balloon repair, you have to like tie a little balloon around your waist, and you have to float around the balloon and put like staple patches in or something, or like smear a patch on to the hole.
That would be awesome.
It wouldn't
Talk
be
about mini game repair.
But it'd be really quick. It wouldn't be like where you have to like slowly go around the ship and like patch each one and take forever. Instead, it'd be like you automatically get taken to the hole.
Right, something that would keep it fast action pace. You can even have bigger crews stuff too, where you have more mechanics and that could create more disorder too, like bigger fights and it could get crazy. So you could keep it real small and contained, or you could get it like big and crazy where you have like 60-person crews and ships are slamming into each other and people are fighting and people are patching the balloons and other people are rebuilding the guns. People are turning the gun on the deck and firing on their own men.
It's a really good idea. Like it's probably more ambitious than we could ever make, but
Yeah, that's more. So they're not all this big. So if you're like, I can never make a game that big. Maybe you're a 6-person studio, you got some games under your belt, steal it. Maybe you're the guy for this job. I got one for you. So like you're new. You want to make a game. You don't have an idea. Mario, you jump on top of people to kill them. In this game, you have to get underneath them to kill them. And so as they walk around, you have to find ways to push the enemy on top. And that could take off. There could be little levers that you have to jump and flip the enemy over and jump on the enemy then. You could have to get the enemy to a higher plane by rearranging Lemmings-style platforms to make the enemy jump up so then you can kill
Lemmings.
it. Lemmings, yeah. And so if you just like combine some of those ideas to where you do different puzzles to make sure that the enemy... You have to get under the enemy somehow, because it feels pretty impossible when an enemy just walks up and you're like, I'm going to get under this thing. All I can do is jump. But then as you learn more about the world, you'll be like, oh, yeah, and bigger bosses. Like, you can have fatter, bigger enemies that have to be flipped. And so to flip them, maybe you have to flip some other enemies first to weigh down a thing that can then push
set it up.
Yeah.
All right, so this one's going to require you to have a knowledge of Warhammer 40,000. All right, this isn't one of those Warhammer 40,000, but this. Instead, it's if you played Stellaris, it's like a galactic conquest game, right? But in Warhammer 40,000, one of the probably the most famous event is the Horus Heresy, where basically the right-hand man of the Emperor pretty much usurps him and like goes on like a conquering rampage all the way across the galaxy and just pretty much achieves his goal. But you have to be Horus, you have to be the bad guy, and you have to convert people to your side. You have to start taking over planets. So it would be like detailed to where like, you know, on each planet doing the whole Total War thing. Though if you want to go that far, you can. But it'd be more like a large grand strategy game in that aspect.
Yeah, so like a grand strategy game, but planets involved.
Yes.
So to be clear, if we're ever mentioning like licensed assets, obviously mechanics aren't copyrightable, so
Yes.
we're not saying like you should name it this.
However, Games Workshop is willing to pretty much sell a game license to anybody for
Really? I thought they were
Warhammer.
stingy with that crap.
They used to be stingy, but now there's really, really, really bad ones.
It's like, is it like an RTS where you have to move spaceships around?
So if you've ever played Spore or any of these games where you actually see like a whole galaxy at once, you know, there's like literally hundreds of like, well, in real life there's like millions. However, it'd be like hundreds or maybe thousands, depends on what scale or like difficulty you want. So you like start off as just Horus on his little planet, but you could have different aspects of like, okay, you need to get your goal achieved, you need enough people, you need the right people, and you need the gods of chaos on your side enough, and maybe enough chaos power or something, right? Or taking them over from like corrupting them, right? So maybe
Like
you got this
spies.
guy especially because you're really good at spy work, or maybe you get this guy because he has a really strong military. So as you work your way across the galaxy towards the center, which is your goal, you know, you really start to pull together your team.
Kind of like Crusader Kings.
I would say like Crusader Kings, but I would say almost like a kind of
Like Warcraft meets Crusader
FTL
Kings.
in a way, because there's that final fight that is super tough. You don't know if you're gonna make it. Like the whole time, you know, it's just getting really, really difficult. But once you get to your goal, it's the fight, and that's it.
Spin on it. Roguelike.
You can always make something a roguelike. Just
So
have
like
the-
a Crusader Kings style roguelike planet takeover strategy game.
the 4 X's: expand, explore, exterminate, and whatever the 4th X is, expand some more. I don't know.
So I have question marks by this one whether or not I should share it, but I'm gonna try it.
Do it.
It's like got a DDR pad where you have to like keep the beat with your right and left foot as you do it, and then you have to like learn how to play the instrument with your controller, and you can even blow into the mic as you play. But it's a rhythm game.
Yeah, I mean, all kinds of rhythm games sell,
Okay.
which is almost an idea I had of combining Beat Saber and DDR. But that would be really, really, really difficult. So I don't
That's like that Scott Pilgrim game in Scott Pilgrim where they're like doing ninja moves and
Yes.
flipping around each other.
Yes.
Yeah.
But that would be too difficult to do. And so your idea makes more sense because it contains it with a central theme of
Yeah.
to be in a marching band.
Then you actually have to like walk and hit your spots at the right time. So you have to like walk a certain way. Okay, so have you played the original Kirby?
No.
Okay, so everyone, the original Kirby is one of the best platforming games of all time. I don't care how much you like Celeste. The original Kirby is freaking amazing, and it's super tight controls, tight hitboxes. You have like different forms. You can most platforming games are like it's difficult to get around. Kirby can fly. Kirby can squeeze himself flat. He can jump. He can scoot. He can flip. He can take advantage of other flying things like a flying saucer. And in this one, if you swallowed up 2 enemies at one time, you could even mix and get a random ability. It was a nuts. The game was just like amazing. So that funness came from the fact that you would have a completely different experience every time you played through because you'd swallow up a different enemy and you would have a different ability. If you played Kirby on the N64, you've
Crystal
not played
shards.
real Kirby. Yeah, no,
Kirby,
Crystal Shards.
It's the best.
I know. A lot of people think that because they've never played real Kirby. Real Kirby is fast-paced and crazy. Kirby Crystal Shards is like, you're like...
Yeah, but it's all cutesy and fun and...
Yeah,
baby,
and then you get, eventually you get
nice.
Kirby Epic Yarn where you can't even die.
I think it's on the shelf over there. Yeah, I see it.
Yeah.
Epic Yarn.
I played Epic Yarn and I was like, this isn't Kirby. It's just like using Kirby to sell a really bad indie game idea.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's how I felt about it. Sorry, if you like Kirby Epic Yarn, I apologize. No, I don't apologize.
That's right, Adam. You be convicted of your beliefs.
If that's your idea, Kirby, wrong. So you have to understand Kirby to understand this idea. You suck in somebody's abilities, it's fast-paced, it's exciting, and you get brand new abilities every time you suck somebody in, and you can solve puzzles using different abilities, and sometimes it's like a chemistry system, too. The original Kirby, you could light a fuse with a fire guy, a spark. There's like several things that could light fuses. Bombs could also light fuses. So like, that's 3 different options to light a fuse, which means you can get an enemy and solve the puzzles doing different things as you're playing this fast-paced platformer. And when you got hit, you lost your thing. So that's important. First-person shooter, Kirby.
Yep.
So you suck out their soul, like Dark Soul, not Dark Soul style, more like imagine like you kill the person, and you're like, and you take their ability. It's like Doom. Doom's what I'm thinking of. Fast-paced, action-y. You like rip
Also
their
a
soul out of their
platformer.
body. You put it inside of yours, and then I'm glad my mic wasn't here. I would have really destroyed everyone.
Rip headphone users.
You put it inside of here, and then you now have a new ability. Now you're shooting fire out of your arms, and then you can solve whatever platforming puzzle you need as you go around. But then like Metroidvania style,
Would this
but
be 2D still?
it could be 2D.
Or would it
You could
actually
do
be a
it run and
first-person
gun.
shooter?
So it could be a run and gun 2D game. 2 for 1 here. Run and gun 2D game. That's similar to Kirby. Kirby's a little more jumpy based and not shootery based, but if you can kind of swing the dynamics in that. But if you can do it 3D too, Doom style, and you it's like imagine Metroid style like puzzle traversing, but Doom style fighting. And then you like suck out somebody's soul. Now you've got hammers for arms, and the hammers throw, and then you can like knock down pegs with the hammers, and then you can like and then like you don't like that ability anymore. You throw it away. You grab a new guy, you rip his head off, you suck his soul out, and then you like I don't know. It's getting really violent, but you can imagine that could go. That could just be exciting and fun. You see a new person, and you see somebody, and you're like, they look deadly and scary, and they're gonna kill me. But if I take their ability, I get to be deadly and scary. And the game just gets more exciting. Oh, you can do puzzles too, the way I have it written down here. You can do puzzles because different orders could be better for killing different people. So if you have 5 enemies walk up at once, you could be like, well, if I take that guy's ability, it'll be easier to kill this guy, then I can steal his ability to kill this guy. And that could be a puzzle progression as well.
I'm going to start with 3 words, three names, and then we're going to go from there.
Okay.
Mad Max.
Mad Max.
Twisted Metal. Dirt Rally.
Oh, I see
Right?
exactly
there's,
what
like,
you're
these
talking
different
about.
scattered crappy cities.
Yes.
And let's say you have to make deliveries to the different cities. You can't like get out of your car. It's completely takes place in your car. And let's say you have to go. It's not on a track. I'd say there's probably like a main route and there's other alternate routes. It could be open world. And
Crazy
you have
Taxi
to make
style.
the deliveries. Yes, that's another idea. I love Crazy Taxi. I played all the Simpson hit and run games. They're really good. Anyways, but let's say you make the delivery, you get to upgrade your vehicle. However, the upgrades aren't sane. Instead of like, oh, you get to have carbon fiber panels like a racing game. Instead, it's like you get a minigun on your driver's side front panel of your car, and then other upgrades could be you have more ammo for it. Another upgrade could be you have another minigun on the other side panel of your car. Another upgrade could be you have a turret mounted to your car. It's like these add weight to it, maybe slow it down.
And you get in random dog fights with people where you just come up and
there's looters trying to get your stuff because you're making deliveries between all these different cities in this giant wasteland of a place like Mad Max.
That's it.
Boom.
That's it. You did it.
That idea is so good. I might want to just keep that.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Quick second idea off that.
Yes.
Crazy Taxi. Except you get the upgrade system like that. Except it's cyberpunk future.
If you haven't played Crazy Taxi, It's a game where you're a taxi driver, you grab a person, and you just drive across the city as fast and as crazy as you can to get them to the spot.
Yep.
Some people don't like being driven crazy. Some
Yep.
people love it, and they give you bigger tips.
Simpsons Hit and Run. It's the same thing, pretty much, if you played that. Really good. But yes, Cyberpunk, though. So it's in the future. You have hover cars. You upgrade your hover car. Maybe it can fly. Maybe you can like do like some teleporting kind of stuff, you know. Maybe have guns. Maybe have, all kinds of crazy stuff. Boom, quick idea right there. It's 2.
Yeah, that's really good. That's really good. I don't know how to follow that. I'm not going to follow that with my Battle Royale game idea. I'm going to tell you that one, but I'm not going to follow it with the Battle Royale game idea because it makes me... Okay, here we go. Switch game. So, Pokemon, Beyblades.
Isn't Pokemon Beyblades, though?
Same, yeah, it's collectibles, make it better. Beyblades is this idea where you, like, rip something off and then you watch your things fight or whatever.
Yeah.
Pokemon RPG. So you have this, like, RPG progression-style game where you, like, continue to meet people, get items, blah, 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 blah. You can make that as fun and fancy as you want, but the main mechanic is you have a Switch controller and you have to flip out your fighting thing as it spins around the fight. And how good you flip it and where you flip it gives you a really good starting advantage. And you can also like fish it back later, like fish it back and throw out a different one.
Okay, I like it. Upgrade to your idea real quick. Pokemon Go, Switch, Beyblades. So you'd like Beyblade fight people in real life. And there could be, not like gyms and stuff like that. And all that stuff.
Well, there's like, you can like multi-screen it because your Switches do multiplayer. So you just like set them down and you can like...
See, there we go.
You can set them flat on the table next to each other. And I know Nintendo has some sort of a feature, I'm sure it does, where you can like join the screens together and you can watch the double screen arena play.
Boom.
Jeez, yeah. Take that one. Somebody make that. I'll buy it. Yeah. My son would love it. He would just play it like crazy. Okay, I think that was a fair one to follow your amazing Mad Max idea.
Oh no, I really like that Mad Max idea right now.
It's really good. It's really good. Battle Royale game, but the crap part about Battle Royale games, the part that makes them all the same, the part that makes them suck, is as soon as you die, you're out. So when you win, you're like, yeah, I beat 100 people. Guess who's around to see your victory? No one. They're all in another match. Mario Kart has this great idea in the original like N64 one. When you die in the it was essentially a Battle Royale game, right? Like they were doing it way before everybody else was doing it. But when you died, you'd become like a bomb and you could like sabotage people. You were already out, but you could like sabotage people. So same idea, except you're a ghost. And you can do things like start fires. You can help push. You can be part of that storm that pushes everybody together. You can have a job to do, and if you do really good, you could come back to life at the end and fight the last 10 people. Like maybe 5 lucky people get to jump back in and keep fighting. You can get extra coins for doing a good job being a ghost. So like that's when you earn your coins. You don't earn your coins in the Battle Royale, but if you win the Battle Royale, you can either A, have a big winner's prize and give everybody back their souls for half the winner's prize, but they get a bunch of coins too. No, just pure altruism. Or you can keep your winner's prize, keep their souls, and double your winner's prize. And so like everybody at the end is like, are they going to be nice? And you only, if you're watching, you have to watch their like thing, their little victories thing, to get to know if you're going to get your soul back.
I hate to go on the VR thing again, but here we go.
It's what we do.
Crown physics. If you've played that before, you like draw shapes to complete puzzles. You do that in VR. It's first person, so like let's say there's a chasm before you, and it's like figure out different shapes to make or whatever to get across this chasm. So one, it incorporates puzzles slash making you think about how to get through these puzzles or whatever. And then two, if you're falling in VR, so quick little game, maybe some physics built into it, like maybe there's water rushing, and so you have to deal with that, get that out of the way or something. I don't know.
Yeah, and so you can have a little tablet. Like, when you draw on that tablet, it comes to life.
Or just like the whole 3D drawing thing in VR, except you like draw a shape and you could like, you know, throw the shape. Maybe it sticks or something.
Yeah.
It got different aspects. Like maybe it's a sticky
like a
shape.
3D pen. Like a 3D pen, and then when you draw it, you've essentially made something.
There we go.
There's a lot.
That's
There's a lot you
one.
can do with that one too.
That's a
That
quick
one though, I have a feeling that's one like if you don't handle resources well, you can easily crash the game. So because that's essentially like medium and stuff. It's like that 3D drawing, but with like puzzles and things. So it's doable. It's completely doable. But it's just gotta it's gotta instantly rasterize.
Wanted the quick one? I got a mobile one.
Yes. Okay.
All right. Mini Golf Tycoon. It could be 2D top down, kind of like Roller Coaster Tycoon style, except it's just like on your phone, and you just like, you know, use your finger, pick different parts, make different maps or whatever, and you have like people can even play your maps on their phone, right? So like it could be almost like a one of those games, Clash of Clans or whatever, where other people can visit your park, or they'd visit your castle and destroy it. But this time they could like visit your park, rate it, tell you what they like, what they didn't like, you know. And if you do really good, then you can get better, cooler things and have bigger, crazier mini golf courses.
Yeah, I like that. So instead of making it like an RTS that's about fighting other people, like a MMO RTS that's about fighting other people, it's an MMO RTS about building cooler theme parks.
Yeah, but mainly just mini golf.
Oh yeah, mini. Yeah. Okay. Yes. Okay. Yeah.
Because you could even do like make custom little courses, and you and your friends could play them together if you want. Like, hey, check out this cool course I got because I earned this cool piece. I don't know.
And the editor would feel really good too. Like you just like stretch out the little squares and stuff, and you add in the cool like
just
windmills
have
and
the
things.
basic like terrain stuff, like Roller Coaster Tycoon style, where it's like, you know, squares. It's a grid, but then you can like have raised terrain, lower terrain, water, etc.
Yeah, you just get those things on the phone and click and drag. Yeah, I think that would fit really well in mobile.
Maybe another gimmick to flesh that out better, but that's the basic idea.
Yeah, but yeah, I mean, incorporating gestures and side buttons and stuff. I think there's ways to do that super, super awesomely. You are Twister from Rocket Power.
Which one's that? Is that the friend that's like wearing the hat backwards? Is that Twister?
Yes, that's the guy. Yeah. Okay. So his job is to video Otto while skateboarding.
Ooh.
So it's a skateboarding game, but you have to worry
Sick
about
Skate Footy.
Yes. I even have that written down. It's a skate footy game where you have to get Sick Skate Footy, and it's rated on how centered you are, how close you are to certain tricks, and how close you are, how varied shots you have, how many different angles you have. You have to skate behind the skater and frame them up in shot with your camera. So you're having to skate, not die, dodge obstacles, and even do tricks sometimes to grind behind them to get the best, coolest shots. And your shots are rated by an algorithm, or there's all sorts of ways you could be rating the shots, but
Pokemon
the shots
Snap
would be rated.
can rate pictures, right? So why couldn't you rate shots? Or rather, would this be like a YouTuber simulator kind of thing where you upload these videos to YouTube, so you have like a following that builds up, and when you make money from it, and then you could buy upgrades like sick fisheye lenses.
You could do that. So that's a way you could do that too.
Or
I was thinking gig wise, where like cooler and cooler skaters grab you. If you're lucky, Tony Hawk would sign your game, but probably not. So you have to do like Tony Peregrine Falcon. So
Timmy Falcon
Timmy Falcon calls you up, and and so like final level, you have to record him in a crazy skate park doing all his crazy tricks, staying alive during a zombie apocalypse where he's like killing zombies with a skateboard, and you have to like dodge the zombies and kill them with your skateboard as you're like filming him. You can get as crazy as you wanted to go. Maybe not. You don't have to do the zombies, but like just crazy.
I like it. Crazy's good.
Follow-up idea. That, but VR. Yes, you can't skateboard in VR, but you can ski. A snowboarding game where you have to follow behind your snowboarder and get the good footage. Now, in this one, you can actually hold the camera and move the camera around with your hands.
That sounds like motion sickness.
Yeah, but so it's just like a roller
sideways down a mountain, bent over doing this, looking to like a little camera lens in VR.
Yes, but it would be freaking sick. Okay,
literally
but so
sick.
Matt, you could lean, sick skate footy. So that pun's staying in.
Yep.
So you lean to steer, and you can go off ramps and stuff. And I get there is a possible big motion sickness problem. However, there are like roller coaster games in VR and stuff.
That's sort of gimmick.
There is.
I don't know.
Say what?
I don't know.
Well, so maybe you could fool with the speed and stuff like that. I think it's possible. I think it's something at least to mess with. But I love the idea that you could physically hold the camera while you're following them. And then the final level for this one is the same ideas though. Same like video rating ideas, get better and better gigs. Final level, avalanche. Giant white rhinos are running out of the avalanche. You have to dodge them as you're filming Shaun White do crazy. Well, or
Ron Black.
Ron Black. As you follow them and you get crazy snowboarding footage during his escape from an avalanche.
Wow.
I like that idea.
That's pretty good.
I know. I think it would be amazing until you like throw up everywhere. But
or you'd have stationary. You'd like let's say you cover this certain jump, right? So when the snowboard comes by, you have to like get the camera at the right time, start filming at the right time, track at the right time or whatever. I think you'd.
Okay. If you take that idea
fix
and
your
try my original idea where you get to snowboard and lean. But if that doesn't work, just start doing stationary camera stuff and salvage your assets. There you go. Now you have an asset salvage.
Have you been snowboarding, Adam?
I want to.
Metal Gear Rising Revengeance, there's a mechanic in it where you slice your enemies into pieces, right? But you have to like, damage them enough to where they're like in the air and they're flashing, and then you like cut them up into literally as many pieces as you want. Like count how many pieces you've cut them into, and then they just explode and die, and you rip their spine
like
out.
a little Fruit Ninja segment.
Yes, but you're a chef, and you're in a kitchen, and you have to prep the food. And once the food like flashes, this could be VR or not, doesn't matter. Once the food flashes, you flip
it could be a
in the
mobile
air,
game. You flip it and you
have to I want it diced, and so you get more points for how many cube shapes you get out of that fruit or vegetable that you just cooked, right? And then you have to catch it back in the pan when you're done. And sure, you can have like the slow motion time, right? Because that's like the gimmick of the game. So that slow motion, so you're like, chopping missiles into little pieces and like kicking them back at the helicopter or whatever.
Yeah.
But instead, you're like chopping up tomatoes, like slicing a tomato super finely in midair. And
I can see that
for,
VR
like,
or
style
mobile.
Points, you're like splashing salt on it as it comes back down.
Yeah.
Ultimate
and that
advanced.
Also would work with VR or mobile. Like you could swap out your tool, just hit pepper on it as it comes down.
Quick idea. Done. Write that down.
Yeah. Harry Potter in VR. So you have one movement stuff.
Yep.
But it's like an MMO. And the swish and flick matters, and it doesn't have to be Harry Potter. It can be whatever.
But the tracking of the wand really matters.
Yes, that's what actually does the magic. The mechanics of this game is a really good magic chemistry system. So I don't want to just like select the spell, like that's no fun. Like you got to memorize the spell. You just got to learn them yourself. And the chemistry system matters. When you make fire, it doesn't matter if you use. There can be like 1,400 spells for fire. But whatever one you've learned, it burns something when you need it to burn something. For whatever puzzle you got to solve, it doesn't have to be an MMO. It can also be just a standard like single player game. But MMO, just if you really want to go for it. But this one could be done. I think it could really be done easily in VR if you get a good understanding of like tracking placement, matching.
MMO VR would be a bold one, but yes.
Yeah, that would be a big one.
So,
but it happened. It happened with what's it called? Yeah.
Magica. If you've ever played that, it's a game. It's a top-down game where you're like 4 wizards co-op or whatever, and you have magic. You'll have like there's like electric magic, fire magic, ice magic, earth magic. There's like a whole selection of magics, and they work together. So like if you have two people, one person has fire magic and the other person has water magic, and they shoot two beams together, it makes a giant steam ball that just like shoots that way and maybe blows an enemy off the cliff, right? Well, let's say there's water all over the ground, somebody uses their ice magic everywhere, and then the other person doesn't realize it, they're like running and they just slide off the cliff and die because everything's covered in ice. That system, but an MMORPG.
Yeah, that could,
right?
could see
so
that.
like you're fighting a boss, and it's a fire boss, and you're like, hey, this fire boss would really not like to be covered in water and ice. And so then you have your ice mage and you're like a water mage or something, and you're working together, and you have different ways to attack enemies, that kind of thing.
Yeah, I could see that working really well. Especially MMO style, because then it would force you to seek out and find people that have, the main mechanic would be finding people that have things that can complement your, like, I'm a fire guy, I need water people.
And have it balanced. I'm looking at you, Blizzard. Your magic system's garbage.
Yeah. A game where talking to Alexa is actually part of the game. So, like, your person dies, her name is Alexa, or whatever your wake word needs to be, and then
hey Alexa.
Yeah, no, it's not. Oh, you're just messed with all of them. Sorry, guys, but mine's not in this room. But so you make one where since she handles conversation really well. If you never dubbed for Alexa, I just did. I had released it. I'm officially on the App Store. Vegas Pro Assistant. If you edit in Vegas Pro, if you buy that through our affiliates links, that really helps it out if you buy Vegas Pro. But if you edit with Vegas Pro and you added that Vegas Pro Assistant skill to your Amazon, that's my skill. I hope it helps you out. It teaches you things about like keyboard shortcuts and stuff. Anyway, so what Alexa does, it's like those command prompt games where you just like type to it, and then like when you make your first little command prompt game and you're like, it's like, what is your favorite color? User input string, whatever. And you're like, yellow. And then it says, take string, yellow sucks. And then it says, yellow sucks back to the user. And you're like, how funny. It's pretty much that, except instead of like having to parse and have that perfect user input, like match and find to resolve and with crazy if-then statements, Alexa can take a broad amount of statements and filter those with other things that may have never been said and decide what's being asked and then deliver that one thing back. So that it really, really simplifies that process. So you can have a simple question and answer system super, super simply because Alexa, if you have like 8 sample questions, she can do all the matching for you. That's what makes Alexa cool. So you can actually have a game where as you're playing the game, maybe it's a point-and-click adventure game, and as you talk to your companion character is Alexa, she can answer back the things that actually help you solve the puzzles and stuff like that. Circus Fire Marshal. It's a circus fire. You're the fire marshal. You have to get everybody out of the circus. And the problem is people don't want to listen. And if everyone finds out there's a fire, they all rush out and everybody gets trampled. And so you have to actually you have to figure out where the fire is as soon as you can. And as soon as you find the fire, you have to start funneling people out. You have to pick and choose who you tell about the fire. It's kind of like Lemmings in the fact that you have to line up things to make sure that certain people don't see people exiting the circus tents and bigger and bigger circus tents, and you can slowly kind of make it to where you have crazier, more complicated puzzles about how to get large amounts of people out of the circus before it burns down. Okay, child walking sim. You're a child and you take everything people say to you literally, incredibly literally, so much so your entire world changes for what they say. So if somebody says, man, it's raining cats and dogs today, it starts raining cats and dogs until you talk to somebody else who then says something else, and then that literal thing changes the world. And then you start having to solve puzzles. So maybe you talk to a monkey, and the monkey says, man, I really wish I had an uncle to take me to the park. And the monkey doesn't change the world. So you're like, ooh, that's a puzzle because he doesn't change the world. And then eventually you talk to somebody, and they're like, man, if I don't get this car fixed today, I'll be a monkey's uncle. And you're like, and then you run over to the monkey and you talk to the monkey, and suddenly that guy shows up and takes him to the park. And you're like, I got the monkey and uncle. And then that opens up a new pathway. And then but the game is you take the world changes every time somebody says something. So if somebody says that's bananas, it actually turns into bananas. So if you need bananas to solve a puzzle, then you need to find somebody to say that's bananas. Hard to control game, like Octodad, kind of hard to control kind of game. It's like Ratatouille, where you're controlling the chef, but it's difficult to control. And so, unlike your game where you're like Super Master Finesse Chef, this game you're like not. You're like Lenny from Ratatouille, where you're like you're like having trouble moving around.
Octodad Chef.
Octodad Chef, yeah, except so you're trying to like cut things and you're trying not to cut your hand off. You're trying to like put things in the soup. You're trying to take it off before it burns. A little bit overcooked and how like things can burn and orders can stack up and stuff. Yeah, so like Overcooked meets Octodad and Ratatouille.
Overcooked stresses me out. I can't
I
play
love
it.
it.
It stresses me out too much. I'm like, my life's too stressful already. I got 3 kids. I'm done. I want to relax.
My wife had an idea about being a mouse, and so think like Untitled Goose Game, where you kind of mosey around and you screw with people when you're a goose. But this game, you're a mouse, and you have to rummage to steal food. And so here's the twist. The twist is like you have to steal bigger and bigger things over time without the family catching you. When they catch you, they run you back to the hole. You never die. You just get run back to the hole. So eventually, you start like finding bigger things you can pull through the hole. And so eventually you steal like a watch, and then eventually you steal like a pack of matches, and then eventually you steal, like you have different things you need to steal, and it's different puzzles of how people move around, how they interact, what you mess with to make them walk away and stuff, and eventually you have to steal the couch and things like that to where like their home, it's like Katamari style, like the entire home is missing now because you've just gathered up so much stuff and removed it through the mouse hole, and then everybody's like freaking out the entire time, like, where's the couch? Where's the couch? Because you're the mouse that's been stealing everything. I think that's it, guys.
Yeah.
That's our 25 game ideas. We did it.
Should I do some honorable mentions real quick?
Yeah, do a couple honorable mentions,
All
and
right.
then we'll peace out.
Mansions of Madness VR. If you play Mansions of Madness, it's pretty much like almost kind of like Dungeons and Dragons, where you have one person controlling the game, and you have like 4 people or so trying to figure out the mystery, escape the mansion or whatever. Right? VR, so it's spooky.
Yeah.
Puzzle solving. You have somebody working against you actively the whole time.
Yeah,
Good stuff.
that's a good
Great group
honorable
game.
mention.
Another honorable mention.
Luigi's Mansion VR.
Luigi's Mansion's VR. Pretty much take almost any good game, make it VR.
Good. VR.
Lords of Waterdeep. It's kind of like almost a Monopoly style game where you control different parts of the city, different businesses or whatever, but it's also like RPG in a way. But make that into a video game to where, you know, you work with or against 6 other people to control the city and make the most money as possible. Whoever makes the most wins. Nope.
Polymer Lab. So it's like Kerbal Space Program, except you have to build better and better polymers.
Polymers.
Yeah, like plastics and stuff. You can make green plastics, or you can pollute the earth.
It's like material science.
Yeah, material
The
science,
game.
but Kerbal Space Program meets material science. So, Slay the Spire style mechanics for an RTS. So, you get random decks. You build your card. It's a card building game, and then you have to play people. But you like you gather your resources and stuff. Like you have resource cards that you gotta flip, and you gotta have enough resources cards, but with cool cards. And if you have too many resources cards, you don't have enough cool cards to play to kill people. But it's like RTS style where you like build up bases and generate people and stuff like that, but you do it with cards and a deck building style instead of with just resource gathering and spamming the build button. There's some game ideas. Let us know what you think in the comments. If you if you love those ideas, if you hated them, tell us about it. Tell us the one that you want to steal. It's yours. Take it. Tell us if you want more videos like this one. We can do it. We got more videos like this coming out on this channel about games and how to make them. And because we're making one, it's VR and it's cool.
I'm learning Blender.
Yeah, right. We're learning 100 things, and that's part of what this channel is about too. Is the challenges of learning all the stuff. Like if this video helped you out, subscribe if you're looking for more. We'll see you next time.
Yep, later.